with us um, this morning and tuning in. And I hope everyone is well out there. I think it's going to be nice for a few days. We're going to have some cooler temps. So that's nice. I think it's supposed to be uh, in the high 30s, maybe in the morning here in Cordele. So probably mid to high 40s in Gulf County. So that's kind of nice to see. But so we'll get started. So what we'll do here today is I'll give an update. Julie's going to give a short update as well, and Kay will give us an update on FMP. I know she's teaching the class right now, but I think she'll be out by the time we get towards the end of the presentation. So we'll go ahead and get started. And while we're here today, this is a slide that I generally put in the presentation anyway, just to make sure everybody kind of knows where we are and that we're on the same page and on why we're here today, why we're meeting today. And that's it. Citizen input and involvement is essential to the effectiveness of extension here in Gulf County. And some of the bullet points behind that are, and there are many more, but really the four key ones are identifying needs, making sure we're meeting those needs in extension for Gulf County. Really looking at the program priorities for our county and the methodology, which, in earlier PowerPoint presentations that I've given for these overall advisory committee meetings, there are a number of methodologies that we could use in programming. And right now we're pretty much limited in Gulf County to virtual programming, but we'll get into that as more as we go along. And definitely to be advocates. You guys know what we're doing, and you can let people know in the community what we're doing. That's always great. And of course, increase local support for extension programming in the county. A little bit about the meeting structure. I usually have a slide about this as well, just to give everybody an idea if this may be their first advisory committee meeting. We have 2 meetings a year. We try to do one somewhere along June, July, or August. This year it was August. Sometimes we're lucky enough to get it done in June. That's a good time, although that's kind of height probably of our programming efforts for the year. We've been able to do a meeting during that time. But we discussed programming to date for that year and also introduce some fall planning. And I give an administrative report as well. For the November meeting, it's a little different, where by this point I've had a county extension director, statewide meeting, and a district meeting, and I'm able to give you guys some updates of what's going on around the state and status of extension. I don't have as many bullet points this year to discuss with you guys, or let you guys know, but there are some. And also give an administrative report during this time of the year too. And of course, plans for next year. So some of the statewide updates. Of course, the university is in phase 3 of a reopening plan. Phase 2 was we could have no more than 10 people in an event where it was indoor, and but now that we're in phase 3, we can have groups of 50 or less indoor and up to 250 people outdoor. Of course, you have to abide by the CDC guidelines regarding social distancing, wearing masks, hand sanitizer on site, and just general safe practices, right? So that's where we are with that. What does that mean really for Gulf County Extension, where our physical office, as you guys know, is still closed to the public, really due to because it's such a really tight space. It'd be impossible to really host an event there. If we do have clientele that come up and want to plan ID or really want to see us, we can meet with them outside of the building of course, maintaining that at least 6 foot distance and wearing a mask. So that does happen. We still are trying to do things more so on email and on phone, over the phone if possible. And but we've done a host of webinars online that have really been well attended. So that's a big plus. So it's not that we've stopped programming at all. I mean, we're still doing it. It's just a different methodology right now. As far as the event portal goes, so this is an online system where, say, Julie or I want to host an event, we have to, or even a meeting or a site visit or something like that, we have to go through district and state approval to get that. So it has to go through our district director's office and our dean's office before approval. And I've had some approved and some not approved, depending on the event. So it's something that we have to do, and then we've done that in phase 2, and we've done that in phase 3, and it's gonna look like it's gonna continue. So we have to get approval from those offices before we're able to do anything. As far as phase 4 of the reopening for extension, and that basically almost opens everything back up the way it was, pre-pandemic. That's not going to happen until there is a proven vaccine being administered. I can tell you that. That's one of the statewide updates we had. So that could be, we really don't know, but maybe that'll be hopefully in 2021, and we can get back to some form of normalcy and it's safe for everyone. Couple of new position announcements, large, big time announcements, I guess, across the state, is that we do have a new VP, Dr. Payne, who's over IFAS. IFAS Extension, IFAS Research, IFAS faculty on campus, anything that's IFAS. That's that VP position, and he retired back in July. We do have a new VP that started immediately, and that's Dr. Scott Engel. Some of you guys may know that name. He was the director of USDA, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture Division under the Trump administration. He resigned to take this position back in July. So he is our new head of IFAS. He was once the dean of the College of Ag and Environmental Science at UGA when I was at UGA. So I know a little bit about Dr. Engel, and I think he's going to be a great leader for us. On the flip side of that, our dean, Dean Place, or Dr. Place, who was our extension dean, will be leaving in December, and he is going to be the new head of the Dean of College of Environmental Science at UGA. So he's going to be holding a position that Dr. Engel once held at one point. So we're sad to see Dean Place go. He's been an awesome leader for us. But Dr. Obriza, who is the senior, he's the associate dean, I should say. He's going to be the interim dean for now, and Dr. Engel has said he hopes to have a new dean of extension in place by July. So we'll see. That's kind of ongoing. As far as 4-H plans go, I know Julie's going to talk more about this, but I think 2 of the key issues are going to be volunteers and how that's going to be kind of set up. We're currently going through the motion of changing our volunteer, the way we handle volunteers for UF. Right now, there are different entities that have volunteers, like Master Gardener volunteers, 4-H volunteers, other volunteers for the university. And I think they're trying to streamline it under one roof. And we'll see what happens there. There's a lot of question marks with 4-H. I can tell you about how 4-H programming is going to be conducted in 2021. Julia will speak more to that. Camp Tempucci, I'll get it right. Our 4-H camp, our residential 4-H camp that we use every summer over in Niceville, it has been slammed by, once again, another storm or two, particularly Hurricane Sally. So a lot of repair that needs to be done there. So we don't have anything from the state office right now regarding 4-H and residential camping and how that's actually going to work anyway with social distancing. So really the only thing I can say right now is we're still waiting for more direction on that. Um, Virtual programming is something that it's just going to be a new way of doing things for some time. Um, and it was really, I won't say it was easy at first, but once you kind of got used to it, it got easier, of course, as more you did it. And it's been highly attended, since we started started some programming back in July. But now people are, going back to work and school. I think maybe the virtual thing is getting a little more, people are getting a little more burnout on it. And we're going to probably be faced with an issue of how do we kind of pivot from that and what we're going to do next if we're not in phase 4. So that is definitely a challenge for us next year. But just because of that, just because of just like what we were talking before the meeting started, there's just so many Zoom meetings I think you can go through. One more bullet point on this statewide updates list is IDEA, which is an acronym for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access. And this is actually a committee devoted to inclusion and diversity. It's something that started with Dr. Engel as he came in July, and every department at UF has a committee. And when I say every department, even our own district of 16 counties under extension has their own committee for this. So it's really to assess and promote inclusion and diversity, accessibility and equity within the department, college, and the university. Really, the committee is tasked with looking for mechanisms to kind of meet this mission. Um, and it's very early on. There's not a plan that's been made really through these committees, but it's a start, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a slow process over time, and something where we have faculty members. Then we have maybe 8 faculty members in our district that are serving. I think it's a one-term uh, membership on the committee, and Julie and I will be members at some point. But just to let you know that is a committee that has started this year and will continue to look into these types of issues and make recommendations to the dean. I don't know if you guys can see this. I wanted to just take a second too and talk about our client satisfaction survey. So, and I've got it pulled up on myself. It's hard for me to read on this slide too. And the larger I try to make the slide, the blurrier it gets. So what this is the client satisfaction survey, or you may see it referred to as customer satisfaction survey. So what happens is there's a department under IFAS, Department of Ag Leadership, and they have a center that's called the Professional Development Education Center. And there are professors there that conduct every 5 years, they do a survey. Every year they do a survey of 5 county extension offices throughout the state. And what they do is they ask us for a contact log over a period of time during that year. And then they reach out to the folks that are on our contact log and see how we're doing. And they ask them some survey questions, and they send us the results the following year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send out, there's also a section on the survey about open comments, and I'll send those out along with this infographic that you can read a little bit better. But I can tell you, just kind of looking at it a little bit, just some of the broader numbers. You had 94% benefited from their UF IFAS extensive experience. which is really great. And 97% were really satisfied with our survey. And it breaks down the service a little bit over in the right hand column. And I think the lowest percentage that we have is like 91%. And that was, let's see, said it solved their problems or answered their question. Well, maybe 89%, I'm sorry, had the opportunity to use the information. Um, so some pretty good numbers there. 31% of the clients were frequent clients, um, as in they called our office or contacted our office at least minimum of 15 times a year. So one third of our client base are return customers. So that's really great. So the numbers were really good. We greatly appreciate the feedback from the community. Certainly have areas of that we need to work on. But I wanted to show you two is the breakdown of the survey topic areas um, statewide. So it's really all of the other counties versus Gulf County. And as you can just see by the bar graphs here, they're very comparable, you know, as far as saved money, increased income, improved health or well-being, conserve water or energy, develop leadership or volunteer skills, um, some other benefit that arose from working with extension and then did not receive any benefit one way or the other. But as you can see, just as a look at statewide data versus Gulf, we're pretty much on par with the survey results. Okay, let me shift gears a little bit for the administrative report. Um, and there are really three items here, especially that are fiscal items. One is our county budget, which has been approved. Operating budget's 110,320 bucks, and that includes salary, everything for us. That's all the operating budget, the complete budget for us um, through the county. That's an whopping $80 less than our budget was the year before. Um, we had a budget reduction, I think, under the line item of operating supplies. So where we would order, I think, office supplies. That typical budget line item was reduced by $80. I think every department had a slight decrease in budget, but that $80 is not going to certainly sink us. So 182 account, which is our university account, has $4,633.42 in it at the moment. That's pretty healthy for a 182 account. Our local bank account, our Centennial Bank account, which is primarily, well, I guess it's not primarily, it's 100% 4-H project funds, which is $6,216.92. This is the fund that we use to pay for camping. That's where a lot of our camp money goes and comes out of. Almost all 4-H camping comes out of that account, and that can be expensive. So we'll definitely be seeking some grants this coming year for 4-H programming, especially like STEM for STEM projects. I know that's a point of interest from our 4-H regional specialized agent in the district is STEM programming or STEM projects. That's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We've done some of those sort of programming efforts when Melanie was here for like summer day camps and things like that. So we'll definitely be working towards that. And I know Julie has some things probably on her mind that she would like to apply for some funds to do. And this seems the next item is really something that I think stays on kind of stays on our presentation for the overall advisory committee, and that's new facility grant. And that's something that definitely Anitra and I will be working on a lot this coming year. Um, and looking into funds, I know the probably the statewide budget for these kind of things are going to kind of shrink just because of the pandemic and some other things. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So we'll definitely be working on a new facility grant this coming year. And another item that's usually on here is an MOU. We drastically need to update our MOU with the county, and a lot of some of the policies, uh, HR policies are going to change with UF coming up, and we're going to have to make sure our MOU is updated sooner than later. And affirmative action, we have an affirmative action file in-house that advisory committee members can view at any time. This is an advisory. This is a file that has our sign-in sheets from our events, information about advisory committee, a lot of affirmative action, policy files, things like that. We're gonna, Anitra and I are definitely gonna look through this folder and better organize the folder over the next probably this month. I'd like for it to be more updated and a little easier to find things. And that's a project we'll be doing over the course of December. I can't thank Anitra not enough for streamlining so many of the processes um, around our administration of Gulf County Extension. She's done a really tremendous job and been very helpful. And really, there are a lot of areas that were really muddy, and she really cleared those areas up, and it's running very effectively, and I appreciate all the work that she's been doing. Um, so we'll talk really quick about outreach events in 2021. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say here because there's just a lot of events that haven't been advertised or posted just because of COVID. I can tell you what we know at this point as far as the larger outreach events. I just put the library talks in here too because I went to a library meeting the other week, and this could give they could start doing some programming in March. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, accommodate the library, but if so, it'd be good to get back into the swing of things in March if possible. But some of our larger outreach events, like our beef cattle conference and trade show, which is wildly popular, that happens in February in Mariana. I have virtual on there. We're having a meeting about this in the morning amongst the ag agents, and I imagine it's going to be a shorter virtual conference this year, is what I'm hearing, and I think that's probably the best thing that they can do for that conference. The beekeeping conference and trade show is going to be virtual again. We did that this past year because it fell in April or May, so it was after the pandemic kind of hit. So I imagine we're going to use the same template for that conference as we did for this past year. It was successful. We had 260 something people online for that, so that was good. Sunbelt Ag Expo has posted on their website that they're going to have the expo between the 19th and 21st. Let's cross our fingers on that. That will happen. Haven't heard anything about the North Florida Fair, so that's why I didn't list it. So that's really where we are with our larger events. Don't know anything about the Tupelo Honey Festival. Probably won't. A lot of these things we just won't know of until it's a little bit later. Let me go through. I got just, I think, 3 more slides before we get to Julie. I just wanted to go through really quick some programming updates. The agricultural updates first. We're going forward with our cool season forage and wildlife plot trials, and probably do a field day similar to what we did this past year, and maybe even get some drone footage of the field day. But what we're planning is really we're always looking at variables like, what kind of variables can we test for with these forage plots. And so what we're looking at this year is maybe 3 different planting strategies. One on a clean seed bed, one strip tilled, where when I say strip tilled, really disc, and then planted a disc, through an established pasture, and overseeded through that. And then a no-till drill where it's drilled right into the pasture. Those are really the three options that we're looking at and studying with our cool season forage and wildlife plot this year. We've got to get going on that probably pretty soon because it's already November. It's our window of planting is diminishing a little bit, but we'll get that going soon. We've had a Panhandle Outdoors Live webinar series. You guys may have heard of this. If you were to go to Facebook or our district newsletter site, it's highly promoted. These are 30-minute webinars on all sorts of all sorts of programming topics under natural resources. I haven't done one yet, but I'm going to be doing one on December 16th. Again, these are 30-minute webinars, and the topic's going to be pond management. Get a jump on pond management. So I, along with the local Okaloosa and Walton County Extension agent, will be tag teaming that webinar. Um, the university has started a honeybee extension education team. Um, this started really this fall. And I'm a member of that, and we're looking at tapping into a resource that we've had probably some difficulty tapping into from the beginning, and that's commercial beekeepers, looking at ways that we can have programming efforts that can help them. This is kind of a topic that's kind of evolving every time we meet. So obviously we'll still be doing, backyard and, hobby beekeeping classes. But we're going to really look and see what we can do about commercial, if we can help commercial beekeepers in the area. And last but not least, I've definitely got to mention about industrial hemp trials. It's pretty interesting. If you see the top picture there, that's a picture that I took at our Quincy Research Station of an industrial hemp trial back in February. Yeah, it's not Christmas trees, that's hemp. So I think they would make a good Christmas tree though. Um, but so UF has been doing a lot of research over the last, they've done a research over the last really 2 years, and there should be a report coming out soon. They've had, UF has had test trials through every research and education center throughout the state, and also partnered with some commercial industrial hemp producers from other states that have come here and either rented or bought land. So with these permits, FDACS permits this to happen, and it's not something through UF. You have to have a Florida Department of Ag permit. And what I can tell you is for this year, there were 582 acres permitted in Gulf County. That's the fourth highest amount of acreage in the state that was permitted. And that's about half the amount of acreage that was permitted in our district out of 16 counties. That doesn't mean there's that much hemp acreage in production right now. It's very little, but there were that many permits applied for. There were two operations here in Gulf. One was the IFAS operation with a funded operation with a producer from Oregon. Another was just an absolute private operation. And I can tell you both were a major wash. And literally speaking, the rainfall that we had in July and August just really washed the crop away. One crop was planted on top of the ground. The other producer planted it in beds. However, the beds just weren't tall enough, and it rained, and it just ended up, there was some root stunning because of all the moisture, and in some cases just the crop just got absolutely washed away. So we're still learning along with the producers, working closely with them, and I believe both of these producers are going to participate next year and have permits for next year. We've got a long way to go, but we're still in IFAS. We're still learning more and more about this commodity. Just a few topics to run down really quick about natural resources. You probably remember me talk or heard in the news about our Scallop Sitter volunteer program, where we work with the Department of Ag. We work for FWC to train volunteers to look after scallop restoration cages in our bay. Of course, due to COVID, that program was postponed this year. We're still haven't made a move on that, whether or not we're going to do that this coming year or not. We should know so probably in the next couple of months if that's going to be a possibility. We did have a scallop season webinar, and I plan to do that every year now. I think it was a good event. Had a FWC law enforcement person on, talked about rules and regulations. And I, along with a couple other faculty members, talked about scallop production in the Bay and restoration efforts and those kind of things. We had 20 or so people log in, and I think that was pretty good considering the other webinars that have been done around the state. So we plan to do that again. Julie and I are going to try to work on a seafood at your fingertips um, program this coming year. That's usually where you have, a natural resource agent and a family and consumer science agent work together on a topic and put together a webinar. For example, there was one done not long ago. I think it was Escambia County on snapper. So their Sea Grant agent talked about snapper and all the recreational fishing rules and regulations about that, and FCS agent talked about how to prepare it and did a live presentation about how to prepare a red snapper. So something that we'll be working on. We may even partner with Bay County on this and do a dual webinar somehow, some way. But something that I've wanted to do ever since I came on board here, and I think it would be be neat, and we get some folks that would tune into that. As far as our Master Naturalist program goes, don't see that we'll probably have a virtual program. We did this last year, and we had a lot of people that attended the program, but without the field trips and without the hands-on, I think it leaves a lot of things out that you really want to be a part of when you take a naturalist program. So it may work with the library system if we get clearance and do some sort of short master naturalist talks about some of those subjects. We'll see how that goes, but that's something on the horizon. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time during our advisory committee meeting because it wasn't official yet, but the Gulf County, along with Bay and Franklin counties, have been awarded a Hurricane Michael marine debris grant. And this is through NOAA. And it's a large grant. It's about $3 million. And what it does essentially is it helps place contractors with marine debris sites. And this is heavily for Bay County because they still have hundreds of boats and hundreds of areas where there's, docks and other structures that are essentially derelict in areas, waterways around Bay County. But basically this puts a contractor in place with a landowner in order to get rid of this debris. There's very little in Gulf. As a matter of fact, the Gulf part of the project hasn't started and it won't till next year. Matter of fact, Franklin County is probably next on the list, and then we will be last because there's not as much money allotted for our part of the grant because they're just not still remaining a lot of vessels that are out there or a lot of docks that need to be removed. But just something I wanted to bring up. We are part of that grant, and if you know of anybody that has a derelict vessel or still has Hurricane Michael marine debris, let me know, and I can get you in contact with the people to fill out an application and get that rectified. Our Water Watch program officially wrapped up in July. That was a citizen science volunteer program. And here's a little map showing the Water Watch locations across the state. If you go to Florida Sea Grant, if you just Google Florida Sea Grant and Water Watch, you'll see we have a website with the data analyzed on there now. It's finally up and running. But this is a program that is going on continuously in other counties. It won't be here in Gulf just because of really workload and just really lack of volunteer support, and really just one more volunteer program to coordinate. So I'm not saying that we won't reboot this program at some point, but for now we're just gonna let it go. This was a Gulf of Mexico Alliance grant, 2-year grant that helped fund all of the material that the citizen scientists needed to collect data. But it was just a program too that hit, we got it up and going, and then Hurricane Michael hit, and then we kind of got things going a little bit, and then the pandemic hit. So it was just one thing after another, and kind of difficult to keep going. So, but like I said, we may revisit one day. And my last slide here, wanted to talk a second about some horticulture updates. No real plans for a Master Gardener course this coming year. We have 11 Master Gardeners, and it's probably not time to really reboot a course here in Gulf County with that many volunteers. But I wouldn't be opposed to training a few more volunteers if we had another county that was interested in partnering on a course. But yeah, no plans at this moment to have a Master Gardener course, and it would have to be online too. Um, and just a couple, well, maybe 3 items that the Master Gardeners are going to be working on, more so in 2021, is a Master Gardener Minute, which will technically be a minute video that they'll produce. And there'll be a number of topics they'll cover in 1 minute, something we can put um, on our Facebook page. Video topics about anything that's horticulture related that they want to talk about for a minute, maybe some demonstrations there, maybe plant ID. There's a lot of good ideas out there. So that's something we'll be working on. And 2 relatively new items, math in the garden, which is, we do have a math teacher that's a Master Gardener, a retired math teacher, and there are some programs out there and other Master Gardener programs that are called Math in the Garden, but it's a way to teach kids about math and how that relates to different aspects of gardening, and we'll hope to have something put together for that. That may be something that's going to be virtual as well. And also a seed library, and this has been wildly popular in some areas too, where you actually set up a seed bank at a library system, and people can come in and they have to trade seeds to get seeds. So it's a neat way to kind of get the community involved in gardening and trading seeds. We've had a Gardening in the Panhandle live series, which is similar to our natural resource series, where but however, with our Gardening in the Panhandle live series, it's a group of us agents that meet for an hour during lunch online. This is on is on Facebook, as well as our district websites. I believe is also simulcast there, but it's where we field questions from the communities about different topics. I've been on one about soils, and one about trees and shrubs. So it's something I imagine we're going to continue for next year. It's been pretty popular as well. I'm looking at developing a virtual gardening program for next year. It won't be like Master Gardener. It'll be a shorter, probably a 5-part series, and a little more intro level than Master Gardener. But look into vegetable gardening, soils, pest management, lawn care, those kind of things. Still working on that. We'd like to start that in February. And that'll be also a virtual series. And I'm going to try to do it later in the or maybe early evening class, something like 6 to 7:30 or something like that. Something in the works. We're still going to be doing some pesticide trainings. They're going to be virtual. We did 2 this past year. Well, in 2020, I should say. And our GIBMP class, which is a fertilizer class for landscapers. Planning on doing one of those as well this year too. Hopefully our statewide roundup, which is a good way for people to get their CEUs for their licenses. Hopefully that goes into effect again this summer. It was canceled this year. So hopefully that will be able to work with that, because it's a good way for people to get their CEUs. So I'd like to turn this over to Julie. And Julie, I'll just forward the slides for you. I don't think you have a slide on any FCS programming at this point, I know there's a lot of planning that's still going on for that. I'd say a lot of this is going to be still going to be food preparation and things like that, but I think there's going to be a shift this coming year to a lot of healthcare programming. But I think it's still a little up in the air still how FCS is gonna play out next year. But anyway, I'll let Julie take it over.
Thank you, Ray, and good morning, everybody. It's good to see your faces, even if it is on Zoom. I feel like pretty much everything we do is face to face, and so that has a new meaning now. But I have been on maternity leave for the past 7 weeks. It's actually my very first day back in the office, so that's been great. But I'm glad to kind of be back into the routine of things too. I thought it was going to be hard to leave her, and it was a little bit hard. But my mom is watching the baby at home, and so she comes to my house, and I don't have to drag her out. And having family to watch the baby is sometimes just so much better for peace of mind and all that. So I am happy now to be back and get things going, and just wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about what's going on in 4-H. And the new 4-H year starts every year on September 1st. So basically, whatever age the child is at that time, when they join, that's considered their age for until the following year on September 1st. So any events that we have, they enter in that age division, or and every year everyone has to re-sign up during that time. So we just started that. We do, even with everything going on with the pandemic and a lot of virtual things. I was so excited. We so far have 6 new 4-H members that are 4-H age. And then we have 2 clover buds, and those aged 5 to 7. So they're not quite 8 yet. And then we have 3 new volunteers who are in the process. And we actually have 4. I know 3 are actually in the fingerprinting process for this year. And then we have 1 more that's finishing up the youth protection training, and then will be sent to fingerprinting. So that's very exciting to me, because I just was worried about getting people going this year, but that was great. Keeping them engaged and involved is going to be another story. I hope we don't lose them, because we can't have a lot of face-to-face events, but we'll do the best we can. There are virtual events going on, and I listed a few. Chick Chain is still going on. I had a couple kids from our area reach out. They're doing it virtually, but then wanting to do this here. But I think once they figured out it was going to be virtual, they weren't quite as interested. There was a livestock judging competition that was a statewide event, and a few of our kids participated in this. So I was very happy with that. There is a teen council that we have, and as far as what we have enrolled as members, we just didn't have a lot of actual teens. There are 2 to 3 girls this year that are actually eligible to be on that teen council. And they serve basically president, vice president, secretary, etc. for district and state events, just like we run our clubs here. But there's also a teen retreat each year, and my hope was that if those girls would like to this year, just maybe sit in on that and see how it works, and then they get to plan as they get older. They get to plan and actually teach part of that retreat. So, but it's really good. It gives them a chance to be a leader and kind of step out of their comfort zone a little bit. And then there are a lot of state clubs that are virtual right now, pretty much the same that we did over the summer. We had some camps that they have turned into kind of statewide virtual clubs. Gulf County kids haven't been that interested in this. We've been sending the information out, but I think they've just all had a lot going on. And with school being, online for a while, I think that it was just harder to keep their interest. So that's the struggle with virtual events. And it's like I said, as far as kids go, it's hard to keep them engaged virtually sometimes. I think about how hard it is for us as adults to stay attentive during meetings and um, trying to learn, after so long, you just start falling asleep. So I know it's even harder for the kids, but we are trying to bring some virtual things, and they're out there for them to participate in if they would like. And if you'll go to the next slide, please, Ray. So the COVID challenges, we are into phase 3 now. And as Ray said, we can do face-to-face group programs, what phase 3 says is that we can do face-to-face group programs up to 50 indoors with face coverings and social distancing, and outdoor programs up to 250 people, but masks are required still outdoors, and 6-foot distancing has to still be assured. So that is kind of something that we can do if we can get it approved. As Ray said, we don't know. Some things can get approved and some can't. So that's a little bit of a new area. I've talked with the leaders in 4-H in our 2 clubs, and I told them we can try to submit if we want to try to have some events, we can just see and see if it gets approved and what all that might entail, but really virtually is probably our best bet to keep going with. The kids staying interested and involved, like I said, is a little more of a challenge, but also, for instance, we have a horse club, and so the kids aren't necessarily that interested, I guess, in wearing masks. And when we have our play days here once a month and riding their horses and trying to stay 6 feet apart at all times on the horses and things like that. But we might look at doing some of that a little later. It's still a little unknown. So it's interesting, that's for sure. And then as far as the virtual programming, with COVID, everything is face to face, and a lot of times you have to reinvent the wheel. So events we would have, not only do you have to try to make them interesting, but we have to basically create the whole program online, which is something that becomes very time consuming, and we're all learning, and we've gotten better at it over time, and but it still is very time consuming. And like I said, keeping the kids involved, you might put a lot of work into something and only get 3 or 4 kids that are going to do it, which is great just to get anybody to do it, but it's just a new way of a new challenge, I would say, for us agents with 4-H. And
I would definitely agree with that. Julie, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I was just going to say, yeah, just thinking about the difficulties of like these kind of videos, and not to put you on the spot, but how long did it take you to, would you say from the beginning to the end of the process of developing a video for a program? How long did that take?
oh, wow. Well, if just a video and you think, oh, okay. And really, most of our videos are what, 2 to 3 minutes long, and you think that's nothing, but you have to shoot it. So you have to get everything prepared, and then you have to shoot the video. And if it's outside, windy, things like that, that is hard because then you have to try to either redo it or block some of it out. And then also finding a program to edit it. And the editing is what takes so long, and trying to figure out which program you want to use. There's so many different things. I did some stuff on my phone, for instance, and it's an iPhone, so I shot video with that. Well, then you can use iMovie basically to cut and paste and put things together and put text in it, and but there are so many others. That's just one example of it. And also with 4-H, there are only certain ones that are approved for us to use, as far as what the kids, like if we set up a virtual program, we can't use TikTok. What the kids are really into TikTok, that's not approved through UF. So that's not one we can use to get information out to the kids. So there's a lot, it seems like it would be easy, but it's a very large process just to get a little bit done. And so I don't know if you
Just
feel
all
like
a little
that, Ray,
much.
or
For
not.
one, yeah, for one short video, probably a few days,
Yes, exactly.
at least a few
Actually
days.
happened.
Yes. I
Right.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, Julie. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
no, that's fine.
sorry.
And then I was just going to say there are travel restrictions still in place. And I think getting approved
I
to
have
take kids places,
actually
to
been
events,
through
things like
that
that is also a
same
challenge.
thing, and
If you would
it's
go to
one.
the next one, please, Ray. Now, we do have plans for 2021, and most of everything as far as planning, we're all planning our 4-H events like they're going to be in person until we are told different. So there are meetings in place, and we are still planning everything just as if it will be in person. And then if it comes closer to time and we have to do it virtually and can do it virtually, that's kind of what we're going to do. Like I said, I haven't been in some of the meetings for the past 7 weeks, so I'm a little out of the loop as far as being up to date if there have been any changes the past 7 weeks. But for the most part, I know that everything is still on. The first thing that we have is the volunteer retreat coming up in January. And that is going to be over in Destin, or supposed to be. And I'm sure they'll be making a call about that one pretty soon. But it's a workshop for youth and adult volunteers for to give them some training in 4-H programming. And that is going to be January 22nd through 23rd. And they have said they will do that one virtually if we can't go in person, and we will still keep the destination available and try to do it there next year, I think. So also, and that's a district event. So that's district agents, and it would be volunteers throughout our district attending that. And it's just one day overnight to go over and attend that event. And then something new that I wanted to go to this year, they've had it for years. It's a statewide event, but it's 4-H Day at the Capitol. And it is involving where the kids come and visit a day at the Capitol, and they get to kind of learn about the legislative process and tour the Capitol and meet with legislators and things like that. And I think that that's something we haven't, I don't think we've ever participated in that here in Gulf County, but that's something I think would be wonderful. And also it would give our kids that are not in the horse club or the livestock club a chance to do something. I mean, a lot of times our kids that are in those clubs do participate, but the kids that maybe don't have an animal, this is an opportunity for them to do something with 4-H. And then also we have Representative Jason Schoaf, who has reached out, and he really likes 4-H. And so if we get to have that in February, my thought was maybe we could ask him to come and meet with our kids since he's from here. And I think that would mean a lot to them. Hopefully he could take them on a tour, or maybe a short part. I think that would be very interesting to them. And but I don't know, we'll just have to see what he can do. But at least hopefully he can pop in and say hi to our county's kids in particular that day. And then in March, we're still planning on going to our livestock club for the West Florida Livestock Ag Judging Competition show and sale like we did last year. And that was my first 2 weeks of work. My very first day, I went to the livestock judging competition it was on a Friday, and then Saturday was the show and sale, and it was great. And that was the first and last live event that I think we got to have for the livestock group there. But for me, since I started in March, but the kids did great, and they are planning on having that still. I know that the kids that participated last year did go and weigh in their steers already. So they're hoping to be able to still continue on and have that in March. The teen retreat, I don't have the actual dates on that yet. As I mentioned before, that's a 3-day retreat for teens, and it'll improve their leadership and communication skills. And it's 16 counties. And we meet regularly throughout the year. So I believe there's a meeting tonight, and it's agents and teens that meet and plan this event. And the kids get to even do a lot of the teaching with the guidance of the agents. And there's fun little workshops and things like that offered. And it's just a chance for them to interact with other teens from other counties, but also in the way of leadership. So that is another event that I hope to get our kids involved in that maybe don't have animals to participate in the clubs. And that would be usually in the spring, I'm pretty sure, is when they do it. And they may have announced a date. Like I said, I just haven't been in the past couple meetings, so I may know more about that after our meeting tonight. And then also the District County Showcase. We were planning on doing that. It was supposed to be in May this past year. And we're going to try to do that again. The date is set for April 24th. And that's where we can kind of help the kids at the meeting and brainstorm ideas for presentations. So and they give a little presentation usually themselves, and it can be on pretty much anything, but it's just a public speaking kind of thing. And they get judged, and they get to participate with other county members at district levels. And then they'll get ribbons. And I think last year it was supposed to be held in Wakulla County, and I'm assuming that's where it would be again this year if we get to have it. If not, we'll figure out a way to do it virtually, I'm sure. And then also our Area North Horse Show competition is still on. We are meeting and planning as if it will be in person as well. And the kids will travel with their horses to compete in Green Cove Springs with a bunch of other kids and pretty much anything you can think of as a horse-related event: horsemanship, showmanship, speed events, roping, Western pleasure, just anything you can think of. This is their district event, and it also, they can qualify to go to state. And with that being said, something I forgot to mention about our 4-H year, we have been having meetings, Zoom meetings for 4-H and for 4-H Horse Club and Livestock Club for the past 2 months. And we've just been doing it together since we don't have a lot of updates. And the kids that would like to participate in these type of competitions, for example, the Area North Horse Show competition in May, if they don't sign up by January 1st, they can't participate. So we're letting the kids know that, hey, if you have a friend that's on the fence about joining just because they don't think there's anything going on, we're encouraging them to go ahead and join in hopes that if we do have in-person events that they want to attend, they'll be able to. We don't want them to miss out on something because they didn't sign up because they thought, oh, I don't want to do it virtually, and then us actually be able to do it in May in person. So we're hoping that some of these events get to be done or approved and done. However we have to get it done, I'm just hoping that the kids will get to have some kind of event to look forward to in 4-H this year. And I guess that's about it on this slide, Ray. And those were, like I said, that's pretty much spring plans, winter and spring plans for 2021. And then summer camps, I'll just touch base on that a little bit. When I was just a volunteer several years ago, we used to have a equine science day camp every year, and I actually taught at it several years. And then sometimes we would, as a club, pay someone to come in and do some clinics during that time, and or speakers to come in, or we would get people to volunteer their time. But the kids learn so much at that day camp. And what it is they come for 4 or 5 days, and they will meet usually from around 7 to 1 each day. And we do breakfast and lunch there, but also they bring their horse and they ride every day. And then we have some sort of, like I said, speaker or some kind of educational presentation each day. and some of it will be on the horse, off the horse, but I am hoping to get that going this year for our county, and that will be a Gulf County event. In the past, we have offered it to other counties if they don't have a horse club program and the agent agrees and they can come over. But like I said, I am planning on hopefully having that happen in June, and that's a day camp, so the kids will be able to participate in that without spending the night and all that. So hopefully that will happen. But that is my plans for summer. And then the residential camping, which is at Camp Tempucci, is where we go over to Niceville and camp with the other counties, Bay, Wakulla, and Franklin. And we are still planning for that to be in person, even though it's destroyed. And right now, not destroyed, but damaged beyond them being able to come and camp. But we are planning and are not quite sure what'll happen. There was a meeting scheduled earlier in the month, but we had another storm come through at that time. And so that got rescheduled. I think it's tomorrow, maybe, is a Camp Tempucci meeting. So maybe I'll have an update on that to see if they've heard anything or if anything. But as far as I know, as Ray mentioned, we haven't had any updates, but they had so many, they've had damages from different hurricanes and tropical storms this year. So I'm not real sure how that will go, but we are planning. We didn't want to be caught off guard. So we are planning. That's such a large event for it to be in person. So if we do get to have it, we'll be prepared. So hopefully we'll see, I guess, how that goes. But the kids really look forward to that. And they don't have to be a 4-H member to do that particular camp. They can sign up whether they're already in the program or not. And we usually start signups, I think, in January or February. So hopefully we'll have some news soon on that. And I guess that's about all I have.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Julie. Thank you for that update. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's going to happen with Tempucci. It's like you said, it's been slammed with storms this year, but even prior to this year, I mean, it was falling in disrepair in a lot of areas, and the pictures that I've seen recently of the seawall are just are devastating. I mean, it may be a 6-figure fix for um, Tempucci in the long run. So it'll be interesting to see how the new IFAS administration approaches that, and hopefully they come up with a really great answer to that, and we're able to use that camp in some fashion sooner than later, no doubt. But thank you again, Julie. Appreciate that. Next up, is Kay with us? Kay's with us, right?
I'm with you today.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Kay.
Good
Kay's
morning.
in the same boat with Julie and I. We've had to shift gears and figure out online programming and how to do these programs virtually. And I think Kay had a class first thing this morning, and if I'm not mistaken, she's got a couple this afternoon. So
Yes.
she is as busy as she can be. But I'll let her take over now. Good to see you this morning, Kay.
Thank you, Ray. I graciously appreciate it. And also, Julie, I'm so happy to see you back. I didn't know you were in the building. All righty. Just to give you a little update on F&P programming. Right now, I am currently providing virtual teaching to the Weevil Hitchcock Elementary School to 3 of the 2nd grade classes for the months of November and December. I have yet to secure anything for January and February, which I'm working on now, networking, trying to obtain more classes throughout the county. However, due to COVID-19, it has been a challenge for me. I've keep reaching out and keep getting, constantly getting rejected, but I'm not gonna, let that stop me or anything like that. You never know what tomorrow might bring when you come in and open up your email. So just constantly just trying to get more virtual programming, to represent the county so that, we, won't have any problems, when January of 2021 comes in. So that's what I'm currently working on, trying to do now. Like I said, it has truly been a challenge. I found out a lot of my teachers did not know how to work Zoom. So a lot of them are kind of like, afraid, and which I understand, because for a while I didn't know how to operate it myself. But as, as time has gone by and working with it, it's become like, it's really simple, very easy, to really operate and to maneuver. So I'm still working on them, still sending out emails, and I won't give up. So that's basically what the family nutrition program is at this moment. So not a lot, but we do have something.
Thank you, Kay, for the update. We really appreciate that. Yeah, it's very challenging, and it's just almost a one day at a time kind of approach. And
Right.
we'll just hope that things definitely get better as the days go by and next year it rolls around for sure. But thank you again, Kay, for the update and letting us know what's going on with FNP these days. Well, guys, I know we're over a little bit on the time, but wanted to have a slide here about the next advisory meeting, which we're going to target for June of 2021. So that'll be the next time that we'll have a meeting. And really, what I wanted to do now, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot or anything. If anybody in the advisory committee would interested in giving any feedback back on any of the topics that we talked about, or if you have any questions about anything that we're doing, or suggestions about some things that we can do going forward, that would be great. Again, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. You guys can always reach out to us through phone call or email, or stop by, and we can visit outside the building too, and talk about ways how we can better address extension topics in Gulf County. So with that, I will kind of turn it over for a minute if anybody has any questions or comments.
Ray, this is Sammy. I just wanted to let you and Julie know that the Cattlemen's Association had a work day at the horse arena where we gutted and basically demolished the latrine facility out at the horse arena. I spoke to Johnny Paul this morning, and the city, as we speak, is picking up the debris, and they are getting together a materials list and a scope of the work, and they intend to start rebuilding that as soon as possible. We're going new water lines, new fixtures, the works. So all that is in place and it's underway. So you guys should have a suitable bathroom very shortly. So I just wanted to let you guys know how that stands.
Wow, that's amazing, Sammy. Thank you for pulling all that together too. And we greatly appreciate the Cattlemen's Association support. And that, what can we do? Is there anything we can do at this point to help out with that?
Actually, Ray, at this point, no, there's not. The city is taking the task on rebuilding the facility. Should they need any more labor, I'm assuming that Johnny Paul will contact me, and then I will be sending out some letters for future efforts. But at this point, once they get their materials list together and the scope of the work together, they intend to start rebuilding that facility so that the children and the adults will have some place to convenient for them.
Thank you so much for that. I know it'll be appreciated in so many ways. It was way overdue.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you again, Sammy. Again, anything we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
I sure will.
And Ray, this is Jill.
Good morning, Jill.
Hi. I just wanted to let you know that the community garden is finally getting back on track. The city of Port St. Joe actually was able to sign an agreement with the St. Joe Company on the use of the land, so we can go forward. And I have a meeting this afternoon, and I wanted to check and make sure that Kay would be okay. I think this might be a future opportunity for the FNP to get involved with maybe some education with the families or groups involved in planting.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, so I will offer your services, Kay.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, let us know how that goes, Jill.
all right, I'll keep you apprised
Yeah, we can talk more too with at the Master Gardener meeting on Thursday too.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you for that.
all right.
I know that's been a struggle trying to get an agreement.
It has 2 years, I think.
Years, yeah. Yep. Well, if no one else has any questions or comments, we can sort of wrap things up with the meeting. I will, we'll make this, again, we'll make this video available for the advisory committee. And we'll also send out, I'll send out that customer satisfaction survey and with the open-ended answers to the survey questions as well. We also do have an impact, what is it? It's an infographic on impacts to Gulf County that we get yearly too. This is not done by the group of professors under the Professional Development Education Center, but it's one that IFAS does. It kind of gives you an economic impact. And it's has been very similar from year to year. I will send that out as well. Kind of interesting to see the funds that are coming into the county from various sources and how sort of that works and how the economics kind of play and things as far as extension and the county goes. So I'll send that out as well. But I just want to take a second and say greatly appreciate everybody being on with us this morning. Thank you for sitting through another Zoom meeting with us. We greatly appreciate it. You taking your time to hear us talk about extension and how things are going in Gulf County. And if there's, again, anything you guys want to contact us about, you have any suggestions or questions, please don't hesitate. Feel free at any time. And we, again, we appreciate your time and thank you guys and have a great day and happy holidays. It's right around the corner.
Thanks. See you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.